This is Jonathan Agger, Fifth Pro Boxing Fans. I'm joined by trainer Shane Mcguigan here at the Smith Fowler press conference ahead of Saturday night live on DAZN. Shane, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, nice little press conference. Didn't get too heated. There was a few words exchanged, but looking forward to Saturday now.
When Ant first joined you, and you set out the path to, I guess, the world title shot, where did Liam Smith fit in that plan, and has this come sooner than you imagined?
Not really, no, because I felt like if the COVID hadn't been happening, I believe we would have boxed for a British title by now, and then either gone for a European or a fringe world title fight, and that's exactly what it is. Liam Smith is a former world champion, a very good fighter. He's not world champion, he's not the best in the world, and he's a fringe world title fighter. So that's we've catapulted past the British level, but that's because Ted Cheeseman had no intentions of boxing. He had a grace period with the British Boxing Board of Control. We could have boxed anyone in the top 15 and chose to box as mandatory. It was a pretty that was a pretty big statement. That, do you know what I mean? This Fowler versus Cheeseman had needle in it. You know what I mean? They've been going at each other for the last couple of years. It could have sold easily. It was a big money fight, way more money than he would have been getting paid this weekend, Ted Cheeseman. But he chose to go a different route. So it the writing was on the wall there. I knew that they were going to do everything in their power to either then vacate after it and then move on. So we just said, look, let's scrap it. Let's move on ourselves. Let's go for someone at that level, and we got approached with this one. I said, absolutely.
Was it somewhat a no-brainer to take this when this came up?
I believe so, yeah, because not that Liam Smith's not at his best. I believe he's at his best. You know what I mean? And that's what we've been preparing for. But also, I think that style of Liam Smith, he would have always struggled with the Russian in his last fight, even if he'd have been fresh. You know what I mean? He struggles with guys that are calm under pressure, that are decent movers, and I think we don't want people, once Fowler wins on Saturday, I don't want people to say, the best Liam Smith was behind him, because I don't believe so. He's a robust guy, and he's still at his peak.
Liam's spoken about his experience and how he would have advised Anthony to take a fight at British level before facing him. How does Anthony bridge that experience, or how has he bridged that experience going into Saturday night?
Quality sparring. They might say that's not the case, but quality sparring. Being in the gym, that there's guys that are preparing for world titles and defending world titles, like there has been this last couple of months with Lawrence Okoli. We got Dan Dubois in there. We got loads of good quality fighters in there. Loads of people that are pushing each other on. What's boxing Ted Cheeseman, in my opinion, going to do for Anthony Fowler's confidence going into this one? It's like, I believe that Fowler would have got punched the head off Cheeseman and probably stopped him in mid to late rounds. So yes, it would have been another opponent throwing punches at you, but he's had over 240 amateur fights. It's exactly the same. I know it's only over 3 rounds. It means that you need to learn how to pace yourself and stuff like that. But you can do that. You can do that during the fight. You know what I mean? You can adapt, and I think that's a sign of a good fighter. It's a guy that learns how. Like look at Lomachenko. He boxed for a world title in his second fight. You know what I mean? He's just you can learn on the job.
What have you been most impressed by with Anthony in terms of progression under you?
Getting back to using what his best attribute is, his jab, his footwork. I believe the best Anthony Fowler was in 2014 when he won the Commonwealth Games gold medal. He was knocking people out. He was firing the jab. He lost his way a little bit. He had quite a lot of hard spars and was on GB quite a long time. They've got a certain style that they train up there. So he spent 2 extra years in that system, hands up high, and that just doesn't suit Anthony Fowler. Playing that that technical game. He's a guy that's a loose sort of fast puncher, and uses his legs, and then he went across to Dave Coolwell when he was trying to adapt the pro style, dipping and rocking side to side, and that also didn't suit him. So it's about getting him to understand what his attributes are, and then working on them day in, day out, so that they just become instinct. And I think that's something that we've had the time to be able to do up until now.
Do you think both men will show each other something they haven't seen before on Saturday night?
No, I don't think. Look, they sparred before, and I think out of the two of them, who's changed the most? Santi Fowler.
Do you have a final sort of prediction on how this fight goes, or is it any means?
It's by any means, of course, but I believe there's one winner, and that's Santi Fowler. I think he's got the power to hurt Smith, but Smith has the know-how and ability to be able to shell up and use his defence. And I don't think, I think I would be very surprised if we got a stoppage, but I think there's a win coming, back to our gym for sure.
Talking of your gym, new additions, Ellie Scotney, Robbie Davis Jr. Busy gym right now, Shay.
Yeah, the Azeems as well. So I've got 9 fighters at the moment, and a lot of good fighters, and it's not just the champions at the moment. We've got Dan Dubois, we've got other people that are in the gym. Caroline's doing a little bit as well at the moment. We've got the Azeems that's one. Adams made his debut, but Hassan's about to make his debut. We've got Robbie Davies, completely different stage of his career, but he's flying as well. So gym's busy, and it's just booming, mate. There's potentially room for 1 or 2 more.
As a trainer, how do you manage it? How does things change when you have so many in the gym?
Yeah.
How do you approach it?
Just timing, just making sure that we do time the schedule right, and we make sure that the spars don't clash. We have a system that we either spar twice a week, so it's either Monday and Thursday, or we spar Tuesday and Friday. So just making sure that they're not clashing, and everyone gets the adequate work, and that's the way it should do. You know what I mean? That's the way it should be working. So it's just that, mate. And I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment. I enjoy being in the gym. I like being busy, and I'm definitely certainly busy. That's for sure.
Haven't spoken to you since Daniel Dubois' trip to America. Successful. Some statement out there.
Yeah, great statement. Dan's a killer, man. He's he's got a lot of learning to do, but he's a seek and destroy guy, and he's definitely done that in his last 2 fights. We need to up the competition a little bit. I think the opponents, we're going to have a fight in either end of November, early December, before the end of the year, and I think that will definitely be a step up in opponents. And I'm excited because once he gets into his stride and gets a few tests, then I believe he's ready for the big boys.
And Lawrence Okoli as well, winning at Wembley Spurs last couple of weeks ago. What do you make of his performance? And I spoke to Callum Sandland about potential unification with Maris Bradis. They're up for it.
Yeah,
that's surely the type of fights you want.
There's a load of fights out there. You got Makabu, you got Bradis, which is what we would want next. Bradis. Then you got Egorov versus Goulamari, and that's boxing at the end of November. So the winner of that we can get as a unified world title as well. So we want the undisputed crown. That's what we want. His performance on last, 10 days ago, whatever it was, 12 days ago, wasn't his best performance, but it was a solid performance. He got the guy out of there that wasn't on his level. It was very negative, but he managed to keep his range and nail him, and then caught him with a good body shot. So he's not going to get tested until he fights these guys, these champions, because he is, I believe, the best in the division.
And Crispin and Smith, British Commonwealth European champion, expecting him to be out before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think Chris is probably going to be on middle of November, so November 13th. He's just moved his flat down to him and his wife Mia have just moved down to Stratford, so close to the gym. So it's a big change to them, but yeah, he's in training at the moment. He's looking well, and I think we'll get either a defensive, probably be a defence of the European title, and it's a big win for him in his last one. So looking forward to the next one, and we'll have a couple of defences around European level, and then we'll see where we go from there.
2 more, Shane, quickly before we finish up. Third fight on Saturday. We spoke briefly before about Fury Wilder 3. You said Wilder needs to target the body more.
Yeah.
Has your thoughts altered? Have you changed your view on the fight at all?
No, view stays the same. Fury wins. I don't believe he's going to stop him as quickly as he did the last time. Potentially could go to points again, and he could get him late. The style that is going to, the style that he should adapt is to fire into the body, for sure, is what I said before. But I don't believe he has that. He's got a guy that's training him that he has no respect for, in my opinion. Even that he's more of a friend. You know what I mean? Malik Scott fell over in about 40 seconds when he boxed him. Do you know what I mean? It's just I don't think there's. If coming off a loss like that, you need to go and seek some authority, and he's definitely not done that with Malik Scott. You know, he seeks him more of a friend than a guy that's going to be willing to pat him on the back and tell him how great he is. And you know, and even doing that, you're trying to roll under shots and throw combinations. Wilder's got a great straight right hand, got a great jab, can punch really, really hard. But you can't get him to sort of roll and slip and do all that stuff because it's not in his makeup. If he does that, he could get nailed, with a big clubbing shot. But what he should do is try and move his feet a little bit more. Try and take offence every time Tyson Fury clips him because he's too happy to give away a couple of shots because he sets his feet too much, and then just fire straight right hands into the body. But I just don't think he's got that in his locker.
Do you think the timeout for both guys will have any impact on Saturday night?
Definitely will suit Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury has spent his whole life being, fighting in a gypsy community. They have straighteners all the time. He's a naturally talented, naturally gifted individual that can just roll out of bed and have a fight. Wilder's taught, and when you're taught, you need activity. And I think that's why it's going to suit Tyson Fury for the fact that that they both haven't been active since the last one.
Finally, obviously you were there at the Spurs Stadium. The Joshua Usyk fight, did the way it play out surprise you as it surprised so many people?
Well, I did a podcast with Rob Tebbett and Boxing Social before the fight, and I said, look, there's a couple of warning signs out there. The warning signs are that AJ tries to play the long game, tries to beat him at his own game, and if he's 4 or 5 rounds down after 6 and he's missed a lot, his arms might be heavy. His timer might be out. He might start forcing it and be a bit reckless. And it was what I kind of called, really. I mean, I thought that AJ was going to get to him in around the championship rounds 9 to 12 or something like that, but he didn't, and there was no sense of urgency within the corner, which I really was shocked by, because at the end of the day, yes, Anthony pays them, and they all, he's the boss, but there's no. There's no marbles if you're not winning. You know what I mean? And you need to make sure that you're winning, and you hold the power of the heavyweight division. It lies within the belts, and you need to defend those belts like your whole entire life is on the line. And there was no sense of urgency.
People said that Derek Chisora somewhat set a blueprint of how to beat Usyk. Do you agree with that?
No, because he didn't. It was too unpaced. He did. Like, everyone knows what the blueprint to beat Usyk is. Use your size, impose yourself. But he tried to do it clever. He tried to play him at his own game, and you're going in there with a guy who's a juggler. Do you know what I mean? He's boxed tricks, so you can't do that. You need to train with full intensity, punch through the target, punch at his chest, not at his head. He didn't throw a right hook until about the 8th round to the body. And then when he did, he tried to throw a couple of good right hooks to the body, hurt him a few times, and he started trying to loop it to the head all the time. If you get success with the body, just keep firing into him. As soon as you hit the body, the head straightens up, and especially with a guy that's laterally side to side firing his body to stand up tall, then you can nail him on the next phase. But there's lots of things that he could have done, could have, should have, would have, but he didn't do them. And I believe he'll go back and have to he'll have to address his standpoint and his position, because he won't beat him in the return if he doesn't change things and change that mind. Whether it's his mindset, whether it's his team, whatever the case, Anthony Joshua is an unbelievable athlete, and he's a good fighter. He's got good instinct.
Shane, appreciate it. Best of luck Saturday night, and then Azim Brothers on the Boxer Show next for you.
Yeah, Azim, and I think Caroline as well. She'll be out there as well.
Brilliant.